Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating 0, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I'm sorry for the pause there, dear listeners. I'm a little off my game. We've just had a crazy revelation about the Gargoyles fandom, and as this is slowly morphing into a Gargoyles fan cast, I'm just really excited to get to this press and news. But I am Sam, your Dungeon Master. I'm joined as always by my longtime friends and fellow Gargoyles fans.
Hello, I'm Brian, and my favorite gargoyle is Lexington.
Hello, I'm Beth, and I have a terrible memory, so I don't remember most of my childhood, including watching the Gargoyles. But apparently I'm the evil one, so there's that.
Yeah, Beth's the heel for several reasons, her bad memory included.
Hey guys, I'm Alex, and tonight I'll be playing Goliath.
Fuck, I almost choked on my coffee. And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Bronx, playing the Druid Zerobek. Say hi, Bronx.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
That's good stuff.
I'm sorry, dear listeners. I know we're coming out of left field again, but we did have some serious... Just a serious Easter egg that Beth found.
I
on
mean,
the
is it
internet.
an Easter egg when I just go to the Gargoyles TV series Wikipedia? Is that really an Easter egg?
It's an Easter egg because I didn't know anything about the shit you were talking about before we started recording. Please say what you found again, please.
What I found was this lovely paragraph that begins, "The Gathering of the Gargoyles was an annual fan convention which began in 1997 and ended in 2009. And then the
Missed
extra
it by
fun part.
that much.
I know, we should have gone. What's fun is there was a masquerade ball where you dressed up as your favorite characters.
Yes.
What?
Fuck yes.
Are you kidding
The
me?
gathering. They called it the Gathering of the Gargoyles.
Yes.
Not like the Gathering of the Gargoyles fan club or like Peter David fans unite. They called it meaning that everyone that went was a gargoyle. This is Gathering of the Juggalo rules. This is fucking crazy. This is crazy. So
I'm gonna put something in the chat if I can.
okay, here we go.
Let's see.
Well, there's a visual element now, and oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
What Beth has just shared is maybe the dopest fucking cosplay I've ever seen. There's a grown woman dressed up as Demona, the famous character from the excellent, perfect, non-problematic, only pure art form ever made, the cartoon show Gargoyles. And, man, she's got the knee spurs and everything. Holy shit,
Yeah,
that is...
Nailed it.
So I have to assume that everyone looked like that. Right?
Yeah.
Seems fair.
I mean, if everyone... I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I could get lost in a forest of people dressed as blue and green-skinned lizard monsters that turn to stone in daylight, boy, that would scratch several of my itches. There's a lot of predilections that would take care of.
We'd
all in
lose
one
Sam
go.
forever, I think. You'd get in a car with like 6 of them and we never know what happened ever again.
Yeah. And from there, his legend would only grow, you know?
Yeah, you guys would all file into the shuttle back to the airport, and I'd be like, guys, I'm staying here. I have a life here. I found love. I'm not going with you. I'm staying at the Gargoyles Gathering.
Cut to Sam helping break into an abandoned church that night.
Where else are we going to sleep? if not the very precarious roof of an ancient church.
Then Parker rings the bell and kills them all. And that's
go.
how that story ends.
Oh God. Okay, so that was our gargoyles tidbit. That was our Brian. We need a name for when we talk about gargoyles. Can you name this segment?
On the spot right now, while everybody's listening.
Gabgoyles.
Okay. So you've been listening to Gabgoyles, our unofficial Gargoyles fan cast.
I don't like that name.
No, it's a perfect name, and it's gonna. That's where the money is now. Is Gabgoyles, and I'm gonna spend all my time just making Gargoyles content.
Because all you have to do is rip off the actual Gargoyles logo and just shittily Photoshop the R into a B.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, it's like fixing your report card, for sure. And that's the level of ingenuity we're going to be bringing to this Gargoyles fan cast. It's going to make us all incredibly wealthy. Check out Gargoyles on Disney Plus. We are not sponsored by Gargoyles or Disney Plus. It's just a really good show, and everyone should watch it. So what do we do on this show? Dungeons and Dragons. That's what we do.
I'm pretty sure it's a law procedural. That's what's happening too.
Oh God.
Chaos and order.
So yeah, we are back with another tale of epic fantasy, and that was like 5 minutes of Gargoyles content. I think that's enough.
Pretty sure it's more than enough. So
we can bookend it. We'll see if there's more at the end. We can just make a gargoyle sandwich.
Fear how deep into the Gargoyles fandom I'm going to have to go in like 5 episodes. It's not going to be good.
Oh, Christ. Okay, so when last we left our heroes, Hector, Rilla, Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide had finished up a very rare week of free time in the relative safety of the sprawling metropolis of Everspring. Hector continued his training in the arts of the bard, telling an ancient tale of his homeland to an audience of hundreds of people to riotous applause. Rilla...
You're welcome, Hector.
Rilla assisted with magical effects to heighten the tale, which did much to help him in his endeavor. Rilla spent her week auditing some magic classes, particularly illusion magic, with instructor Cassandra Crestfall. And she also met a fellow student, Colin, an aquatic elf, who showed Rilla the local community of aquatic elves, an entire settlement of elves living in Lake Dainum, right next to the city of Everspring, that never left the world of men and still found safety and security and comfort.
Is it Crestfall or Crestwell? Because I wrote Crestwell on my notes.
I said I believe it's Cassandra Crestfall, and we'll stick to that. And hopefully
Fixing
that is
the notes in. Okay.
that is accurate. What else happened? Oh, Zurabak spent an entire week gorging himself in the cafeteria of the College of Everspring, and once deposited into the woods outside of town because he literally could fit no more food in his body, he was visited by Talon, an old friend from the Circle of the Serpent, the head of security for his old druid circle, who winged their way all the way up from the Briar Marsh to get a report from Zurabak on how things were going. A reminder that Zurabak is the eyes of his circle and was supposed to report on the goings-on of the evil cult that worships the Stricken. Zurabak gave Talon all of the information of their journeys thus far and introduced Talon to the Stricken, Anthony Geist, in his cell in Grotmire. And Ruger Firehide had a long and meaningful conversation with an old friend of his from his time as a sheriff in the town of Grimm's Hollow. And we learned some pressing information about his backstory and the loss that he and his ex-wife went through back in the day. And we also learned that Ruger's ex-wife is set to get married to a mysterious citizen of Everspring known as the Diviner. We left last time with our heroes officially after 1 week of waiting, of feasting, of learning. Our heroes are finally being summoned before the Loremasters of the College of Everspring, the governing body of the college and the city, the head honchos of this entire organization, to tell them their story. So, we join our heroes now as they are leaving the cafeteria of the College of Everspring, being led by a messenger to the council chambers of the Loremasters. You were all led to the heart of the college, this sort of central circular tower from which branches the 4 large wings of the college itself. You are led up into the main common room, which is an enormous chamber ringed 360 with these beautiful stained glass windows showcasing heroes and monsters from tales of old. You are all led up a spiral staircase in the corner of this common room that leads up and up to a large wooden door carved with the image of a open book. This book is covered with intricate carvings of some sort of glyphs or runes, letters that are unfortunately completely meaningless to your accursed mortal eyes. And the door is opened by the messenger who leads you all in, and you find yourself in a circular room. The walls are covered with beautiful tapestries that show pastoral landscapes, scenes of battle that show more monsters and heroes from old tales that cover the walls in a riotous splash of color. And dominating the center of this room is a semicircular, what looks like a raised dais. And sitting in chairs around this dais, you see 6 people. You recognize Loremaster Holland, the pale, skeletal human woman that you met when you first came to the College of Everspring. She looks at you with her wide and sunken eyes over her steepled fingers through wisps of her gray hair that spring loose from the bun on her head. You see 5 other completely new faces. You see a very broad and muscular gnome man with a very big bushy mustache. You see a very slim and annoyed-looking elf man with pink hair. You see a halfling woman that seems to be twirling what looks like drumsticks. You see a dwarven woman with enormous spectacles that make her look like an owl. And you see a half-orc woman with what looks like a full-sized vulture clinging to her shoulder. The only other people in this room are Helga and Olga, the Hilltopple sisters, who are standing on either side of the stricken Anthony Geist, who still resides in the body of your old friend Sebastian Weaver, who is in chains, locked at wrist and ankle in the middle of the room between the Hilltopple sisters. This messenger leads you all in, bows deeply, and backs out of the room, and you all stand before this semicircular dais where you are encapsulated by the stare of the 6 people seated thereupon. There is a moment of silence before Loremaster Holland says, "Welcome, heroes, to this meeting of the Council of Loremasters.
we are familiar with each other already. I am Loremaster Holland, though now we meet in a more official capacity. The story that you all told me when you first arrived in town was one that was hard to believe, even given the evidence that you provided. But considering that in your first day in town, you solved our jade shortage, you cured a horrifically virulent illness, you restored to life one of the greatest dwarven healers of a bygone age, and since technically I made you honorary bards before you did any of it, this all looks very good for the college in general. I think you have more than earned this audience with the body that is in charge of the College of Everspring, of the city in general. You stand before the living reliquaries of all knowledge from the age before the Glyph Purge struck. I, Holland, am the Loremaster of Magic. This, sitting next to me in order are, she points to the gnome man with the big mustaches, Loremaster Rhaegar, the Loremaster of Combat. She indicates the elf man with the pink hair, Loremaster Prost, the Loremaster of Art. She indicates the halfling woman twirling the drumsticks, Loremaster Kell, the Loremaster of Music. She indicates the dwarf woman with the enormous spectacles, Loremaster Adon, the Loremaster of History. And finally, she indicates the half-orc woman with the enormous pet vulture, Loremaster Morven, the Loremaster of Healing. We 6 are tasked with retaining in our minds all of the most vital bits of knowledge and lore that mortal kind must preserve in order for any semblance of society to function. It is our lot to use the information we have inside of our heads, secrets gleaned from the ether, thanks to the blessing of the goddess Narrativa, to improve the lives of our fellow mortals as best we can. In the meantime, we try to guide the running of the college, the governing of the city of Everspring. I want to thank you for all that you have done for the city in your incredibly short time here, and apologize for the delay in bringing you before this body. If you would, introduce yourselves for the record.
I am Hector, the gatekeeper.
Hello, I am Brilla of Clan Longshadow.
Name's Firehide. Ruger Firehide. Oh, and this is Zerback. He's a bit of an asshole sometimes. From my understanding, he's from the Druid Circle in the swamp. That's about all I know.
Helga and Olga on either side of Sebastian state their names. And then all of the Loremaster's eyes turn to Anthony Geist, the stricken, chained in the middle of the room. And he seems to straighten up and delight in their attention. He sucks in a big breath of air and says, "And I am Bard Extraordinaire, Sebastian Weaver of the College of Everspring."
I chuckle.
when he says that, Olga kind of gives him an elbow to the ribs, and he winces. You notice that one of the Loremasters seems incredibly disturbed by that. This halfling woman, Kel, the Loremaster of music, she stops spinning her drumsticks, and she seems very hurt and stares daggers at Antony, at his antics, and says, "I can't sit here and listen to this. That is not Sebastian Weaver. Sebastian Weaver didn't talk like that. Sebastian Weaver didn't carry himself like that. I honestly couldn't tell how much of your story was bullshit when Holland first came to us with all of this. Seeing the body of the love of my life being used like a marionette by whatever fucking creature is in there is more disgusting than I can state. Sebastian Weaver didn't even talk like that when he was alive. Sebastian Weaver was the surliest, most reckless slob I'd ever fucking met, and I loved him with all my heart. I don't know what the fuck you're getting at, creature, but you are not Sebastian Weaver. I don't know who you think you are or what that is, but that's not the man I love. And if you claim that name once more, I will bring down such fury upon you." And Holland holds up a hand and says, "Kel, I need you to calm down. Okay? I need you to calm down. We are not jurists. We're academics. This is not a courtroom. This is a hearing. This is disgusting on a lot of levels, but I need you to take a breath." And Kel huffs and then sits back in their seat and just stares daggers at Sebastian. I'm sorry. At the stricken.
Not Sebastian.
Not Sebastian.
Yep. And Holland says, "So, you have been brought before this body because the tale you told is one of such importance that we could not possibly ignore it. From what you have told me, it seems that the cult of the stricken, which we once thought was an annoyance capable of occasional strikes against our works, is actually a powerful and far-reaching organization bent not just on the worshipping of the stricken, but on the destruction of all of the tapestry, the killing of reality as we know it. They've come farther in their goals than we had possibly imagined. You have all done battle directly with these forces. You have witnessed holes in the tapestry itself, and you have brought forth the Stricken's grimoire, a fragment of a cipher golem, and you have brought before this governing body the Stricken themselves. Is this all true?"
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
In fact, can't one of you, cast a truth spell and then we can just tell it again and then we're good? Would that work? Because I'm fine with that. We're not lying to you.
If you would be so kind as to consent to a zone of truth, we can absolutely apply one. That can get a little uncomfortable, though. If you're fine with that, it shall be done.
I mean, I'm not going to answer if you ask me shit I don't want to tell you about my personal life, but I'll tell you all about what happened to us. That's no problem. They don't make you talk, right?
I'll make it so this one doesn't. And Loremaster Holland, the Loremaster of Magic, snaps their fingers, and there's a small crackle of energy, and you are under the radius of a zone of truth spell. Anyone that wants to try to save against this may roll a will save, or you can just say fuck it.
What's it look like, Sam?
The air shimmers slightly around you and takes on this weird, almost kaleidoscopic effect for like half a second, and you feel almost like a brain freeze. Like there's a tingle in the back of your head, and all guile just sort of leaves you. So, please tell your tale. From the time you met this creature in chains before us till now. Do you guys do that?
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
Hand wave that whole thing. So you tell the story of your entire adventure up until now. Your battles
And then
with...
when we get to the part where we draw cards, I say... And honestly, the thing is I'm highly superstitious. I pretend not to be because of pride, but I'm incredibly superstitious.
Very good. So yeah, you tell the whole story from the adventures in the Briar Marsh, through the gate, through the Raging Sands, and the Badlands, all the way to your time here. The Loremasters all listen intently and nod their heads. They look quite surprised at various points of your story, and even more shocked that you are all not lying about anything at all. They go fucking wide-eyed when you talk about the Void Spike, and when you talk about the loss of Inga Hilltopple, the Loremaster Morven, that half-orc woman with the pet vulture, she just starts crying, just openly, tears rolling down her face. So Holland says, "So, everything you told me in my office a week ago is the truth." She shares a knowing glance with the rest of the circle of Loremasters, and they all give slight nods of their heads. And Holland turns back to you all and says, "We were discussing possible rewards for all of your efforts, and considering the great effort that lies before all of us, if we wish to save all of reality from the scourge of the Stricken's mad cult, we, the Council of Loremasters, do hereby formally recognize the four of you as protagonists. You all are chosen. You have the blessing of Protos, the god of heroes, over all of you. Any fool could see it."
When she says fool, I point at Hector. give him a little nudge, be like, "Just talking about you, idiot."
This body formally moves to list you all as protagonists. This ancient title will confer several benefits. For one thing, you will be recognized as champions of our organization.
Pass.
Don't mind him. Just keep going, please, ma'am.
It works better if you just steamroll over his bullshit, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
It has to be said that it's not mandatory by any means, but...
Doesn't have to be said. No, steamroll.
You will receive access to every resource we have available, be it arms, armor, equipment,
food. And I stare directly at Zurabek.
Oh, their food's not very well guarded. They just kept giving it to me.
We will be sure to outfit you for your journey, for we are certain that there is a long road ahead of all of you. This will also mean that you have been given, officially,
the blessing of the god of heroes. I'll have to leave the rest to the Hierophant at the Temple of Protos to fully unpack what that means. But in the meantime, would you be so kind as to bring forth the artifacts that you have recovered?
I pull out the half skull of the cipher golem out of my satchel.
I need one more sense motive, just because you said that she seems skeletal, and I'm still concerned about undead murdering me.
Go ahead.
Hector has tears running down his eyes.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
14.
Yeah, they seem on the up and up. These are by and large fairly aged individuals in very tall chairs looking down on you, and you're not super big on that in general. You're definitely getting flashes of the like grandfather tree and Greenleaf and the village elders and their shit. Mm-hmm. So it's not great vibes, but
they're still not out of bite range.
Nothing ever is for Zurabak. But there is no treachery or deceit. If anything, especially Holland seems like just nakedly impressed by all of you. Like they are just openly like, these motherfuckers are holy shit. So yeah,
all right.
they seem
I
fine.
pull out the book. I think I was holding it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you pull the Stricken's Grimoire out of the book. This iron-bound, black-paged tome with 3 large crimson rubies along its spine. And Ruger, you pull out the half-skull of the Cipher Golem. This incredibly beautifully crafted construct crammed full of some of the finest gears and clockwork your eyes have ever seen. You bring these forth, and Loremaster Holland comes down off of the dais and walks over to you and takes them from you, and then turns and goes back to the council and says, "These items could be our chance to fix everything." She turns back to you. Holland turns back to you and says, "The Stricken's Grimoire is..." And then you hear, "Maybe I'm the best one to speak about my grimoire?" And all eyes turn to the tiny gnome form that was Sebastian Weaver and is now Anthony Geist the Stricken. And he says, "After all, I wrote it. It's sort of my passion project. If it please the council, I can certainly add some clarity to its purpose and intent." The Hilltopple sisters like glare at him, and like Olga starts to like kick him. But Loremaster Holland says, "No, let him speak." "You've heard the story, including my portion. I am the wizard that cursed all mortal kind with illiteracy. What you hold in your hand is the spellbook in which I crafted the architecture for my greatest feat. Not the glyph purge itself, but the secret to stepping into the divine realm, the secret to cutting a hole
in reality. The book you have in front of you will allow those who can decode it to do the same. But it is a complex spell. It took me 10 years to gather the resources required to finish the rituals. Even once it is decoded, the items you will need in order to complete the casting are rare, and I'm not even sure where you would find some of them now that the world has become so primitive, disjointed. That book may have the secret to saving the world, but I have special insight into how it can best be applied. I would ask that my role not be overlooked in the proceedings, and that I be given a part to play in what comes next. It is by Narrativa's own will that I'm here in this form at all. And though my powers are greatly diminished, then a slight breeze blows through the room, rustling the feathers of Loremaster Morven's vulture and rustling your hair. Anthony Geist's eyes go coal black, and in the sound of rushing wind, the room gets a little bit darker all around you. I still have powers available to me. Powers that can be useful in this campaign against the zealots that abdicated my throne. Do not be foolish enough to waste a resource that can aid you in your quest. And then the wind dies down, the room returns to its normal brightness. Anthony blinks his eyes, which return to that bright blue. What do you all do?
Yawn.
Good shit. Yeah, Zurbak's like, seen it before, whatever.
Hey, not Sebastian. You think maybe you've done enough fucking damage to the world? Might want to cool the fuck down? Just a little bit? Buddy? And I throw a twig at him or some shit. I don't know. Whatever I have in my pockets.
I love that Rilla the wood elf just has a twig in her pocket. Yeah, you just throw a twig at not Sebastian. You hit him in the back of the head. He spins around and looks at you and says, "The damage I've done to this world is incalculable. I've never argued that fact. What I'm claiming is that I can be invaluable in your efforts to fix what I broke, to fix what those zealots that claim to worship me are breaking further still."
Yeah, but that requires that we trust you, 1, and 2, that you're not just gonna fuck us over and make the world even worse. Just because you, quote, know more. Man.
I trust him.
You got one of us. Congrats.
Are we not all bound by this zone of truth? Loremaster Holland is a capable enough spellcaster to know if I was resisting its effects. Is that not so? And Holland, pauses for a second, then sighs and nods her head. I speak no lie when I say that those who worship me have lost their way. This is not mischief or chaos or vengeance against a fickle goddess who did not give me my due. This is the destruction of everything, including me. And if you can trust nothing else, you can trust that I'm a very big fan of me
I don't want to be destroyed with everything else, and I will be if those cultists get their way. There are things you need to cast the spell required to fix the world. I can help you find those things. I can help you avoid the pitfalls that come with handling those things. You are looking at this all wrong. The Loremasters claim that you are all protagonists, the chosen of Protos. I do not see the god of heroes in this room. I see the god of the void. I see the Strickens chosen. Hector, son of Rufus, next in line for the throne of Giant's Rest. Rilla of Clan Longshadow, the first sorceress born to the Wood Elves in a generation. Zurabak, the horrifying monster unleashed against forces that cannot even begin to match his darkness. And the veteran crime fighter whose horrific personal losses have made them uniquely qualified to deal with the darkness we face. You are the chosen of the stricken. I hand-picked you for this job. Do not believe for 1 second that any of this would have happened, that you would all be here, if it weren't for my influence. To write me out of the story would be hubris on your part. I can help you.
Well, Anthony, I'm not a man of magic. I don't give a shit about a zone of truth. I don't care if Holland thinks you're telling the truth. It means one lick to me. And I've heard a lot of flowery words out of you. I've heard a lot of flowery words out of you, even when you were wearing the mask still. None of that means anything to me. If you want to help, prove it. Give us something. You keep alluding to, you know what we need. You know what we need to do in order to fix things. Well, give us something. Prove it. Give me some example of what we've got to do.
I will tell you how to fix the tapestry. In that spellbook, I compiled the incantations, the material components, and the arcane equations required to step through the tapestry into the divine realm. That means that I unlocked the ability for creatures like you and I, who are made of the same stuff as the tapestry, to supersede it, to achieve a higher plane, to walk into the halls of the gods. If you mean to fix what I've broken, you'll need to find the strand, the missing piece of the tapestry, the strand of hair I stole from Narrativa's head. You will need to walk through a hole in the tapestry that you create, a stable one, not one of these void spikes that we've seen in the wild, and you'll need to replace it. The grimoire you hold in your hands, once decoded, can provide the structure for the spell, but you'll need certain items, the first of which, I will freely tell you, is a knife sharp enough to cut through the fabric of reality. I know precisely where one can obtain such an item.
And, where exactly might that be?
The Ashen Isles. There are mountains there that breathe fire, that ooze rock so hot that it flows like water. When this rock cools, it leaves behind a black glass that can be shaped to be sharper than any substance in the realm. They can split a hair long ways. That will be the first thing you need. And that is something that would have taken quite some time even for a cipher golem to decode. I can point out specifically where you might find such a thing and how it can best be prepared for this purpose. If you will take me with you, it'll be just like the old days.
Yeah, but the squeals won't be as real. It'll be disappointing. You've ruined it.
I do apologize wholeheartedly, Zurabak. That is, of course, the Damn. Sarcasm won't work in this thing. So after all of this, Lord Master Holland says, "This meeting is not to determine your fate. You are brought here as a material witness to prove what they are saying is correct. If you are telling the truth, we can decide later what we are going to do with you, villain. In the meantime, we are going to have Pockets and their turnkeys take a look at this fragment of golem you found. If anyone here in Everspring can figure out its workings and try to rebuild it, they can. Once enough of its mind is restored that we might use it to decode this book, we will do so tirelessly and unravel what secrets we might. However, what this beast says, this villain says, is still true. It will be a complex spell. A massive one that will require many rare materials. Of that I have no doubt. A guide would not be the worst thing, though that is entirely up to you. In any case, you have told your tale. You have provided your items of power. You have been recognized by this body for the work you have done. Is there anything else you wish to tell us before we begin the work of trying to rebuild this construct and decode this book?
This has been incredibly boring.
I told you guys he was an asshole. So, I know it's all conjecture, but how long do you think the process of Pockets and crew completing this cipher golem? I mean, how long are we talking? Days? Weeks? Months? Years?
Unfortunately, I could not begin to guess, though the entirety of our resources will be brought to bear against this. The turnkeys are the greatest engineers in all the Isles. They've been recruited and trained specifically for that purpose. And all of the spellcasters under my purview will be brought to bear on it as well. This is old world technology, incredibly complex. I could not give you an answer to that I could hold myself to yet. But you will all be kept apprised of our progress, as has been earned by your role. You will all play an essential part in fixing everything.
Should we go ahead on to the Ashen Islands? though? While you're still working on decoding?
That is not the worst idea. Though I share everyone's worries about the treacherous nature of the world's greatest villain who sits bound before us. He is telling the truth, or at least what he believes it to be.
And he's right. He's insufferable. But he's right.
If we are to trust anyone with escorting the stricken, it would be the ones that originally brought him in. It would seem he has a special connection to all of you. It is your decision. If you will head to the Ashen Isles, I suppose that all that there is left to do is to reveal one of the greatest secrets that we guard here at the college. Holland turns and regards the rest of the Loremasters and says, "Is there anything else this council needs to hear?" And everyone else just shakes their heads, and they all murmur sort of like a general, like, thanks for everything you've done. And Holland says, "Well, then I declare this meeting over with. I will take it from here." And one by one, all the Loremasters get up and file out of the room. And Holland, after all of them are gone, Holland walks over to a spot on the wall covered with a tapestry of a like Stonehenge in a forest. And Holland moves the tapestry aside and touches the wall. And you see flaring to life an archway, a stone archway, sort of built into, hidden in the masonry of this wall that glows and then resolves itself into like a shimmering plane of energy within this archway. And Lord Master Holland turns to all of you and says, "This is one of the most closely guarded secrets of the College of Everspring. These ancient portals are how our most elite operatives travel distances so great in so short a time. There is a conflux of these gateways a short ways off from here. This is where one of them empties out. Follow me, and I will show you what I mean." And Holland steps through it. Do you all follow?
I look at Rilla first. Rilla, that
Yep.
you wanna go first?
I like poke at it. Like I put like one finger in. Just one. Is it okay?
You put one finger in, and the tip of your finger feels pretty fucking cold, but it's not destroyed or cut off or anything. There's like
for narrativa's sake, and then I just go through.
Fantastic, yeah. While Ruger suspiciously stares at it and Rilla tests it out, Hector just like walks right fucking through it.
Bye, Hector. We knew you well.
I didn't. Not really, but...
Hector, you step through this archway, this shimmering plane of force, and you find yourself in a circle of standing stones on what appears to be the peak of a mountain. You are looking out over the ocean that butts up against the Everspring Mountains. You turn a little to get your bearings. You can see far, far, far below you, to the east, is the large bowl that the Everspring Mountains creates, in which the sprawling metropolis of Everspring resides. And off to the west, you see the ocean roaring and lapping against the bones of this mountain, also far, far below you. You are on one of the tallest peaks of this cluster of mountains thrusting towards the sky. The air is a little thin and pretty chilly. There's a layer of snow on the ground, and you are in a circle of 8 standing stone archways. There is a bit of like evergreen, like shrubbery, and a few low conifer trees that seem to be growing around this circle of stones that gives it a little bit of cover, but mostly it's bare earth, screaming wind, and these stones. Loremaster Holland stands in the center of them and says, "These are our gateways. These connect to specific points fixed all along the Isle of Miosha. With these, you will be able to travel swiftly to various points on the island without having to bother with overland travel. This should make your journeys to collect whatever pieces that the stricken guide you to much more efficient, if nothing else." Do the rest of you walk through the archway?
Yes.
Yeah. The Ruger can go before me, that's fine.
So you all hop through, and you see the exact same thing that I just described to Hector. There's a circle of these 8 standing stone archways, like 2 stones straight up with 1 slab laid across them. There's about 8 of them, and yeah, you're on this crazy pinnacle of mountain that is looking down on the city on one side and the ocean on the other. And yeah, she repeats her spiel. These are standing stones.
Hector mouths along with the spiel the second time.
Fantastic. Yeah, and then as Helga and Olga walk through, carrying Anthony Geist between them, they pop out, and Anthony looks around quickly and says, Of course, this is how you are moving your operatives around. That makes sense. Good that I didn't learn about this until now. It may have proved problematic for your organization. I will say this is one place, at least, where you seem to have an edge over the competition. I don't think that the Cult of the Stricken, as they call themselves now, has any resources like this. This could be very useful.
Where do they go?
Loremaster Holland says, they go several places. One of them leads to a desolate patch of the Raging Sands Desert. One of them to a forgotten corner of the Briar Marsh. One of them exits all the way to the most northern tip of the island in the frozen wastes past the Shatterbark Wood. One of them leads to the Ashen Isles. They are treacherous, storm-racked, volcanic islands full of pirates and enormous man-eating beasts. We haven't sent any agents there in quite a long time.
Zerobak comes through the portal with another meat wagon.
Yeah, you definitely had time to pop down while they were all talking about whatever dumb bullshit they were saying and come back up with the wheelbarrow full of meat.
Hector kicks over the wheelbarrow.
Oh no.
We've made a powerful enemy.
You gotta stop, buddy.
It's getting a little out of hand, Becky. I mean,
Does diabetes exist in this world?
No,
It's gotta, right?
That's too much of a bummer. We got enough shit going on without adding diabetes. He needs all the food to make him strong, you guys.
He already ate all the food. This is round 2 of all of the food.
You think a little dirt's gonna stop Zurabak?
my headcanon is that Zurabak is still, like, completely rotund from having packed his face full of meat.
So yeah, Loremaster Hound looks at you all and says, as I stated before, you all have been marked by what we like to think of as the most powerful organization in all the Isles. It still serves order, knowledge, and the welfare of all mortal kind. You have the ear of the Loremasters of the College of Everspring. You are beyond in favor. We are indebted to you. We have substantial resources. The secrets of combat, magic, healing, the secrets of the lost sciences are available to us and thusly available to you. Anything you'd like to know, any material aid we can offer is yours. But I regret to admit that there is much more that we ask of you. Now that we are away from the prying eyes of my peers, here in this place of seclusion with just us, I ask you all, you chosen of Protos, you protagonists,
Pass.
will you commit... I can't believe I'm saying this. To saving the world.
Hector drops to a knee and bows.
Ruger sees that and, choosing not to be one-upped, also drops to his knees and bows, taking off his Stetson hat.
I don't think I can promise I'll save the world, 'cause that's fucking crazy, but, you know, I'll do what I can to help.
Helga and Olga both take a knee on either side of Anthony Geist and swear themselves as well, and then Olga kicks out Anthony's fucking knees and he bows too with a rattle of chains. He says, I was going to bow anyway. You don't always have to hit me. And then she hits him again. Ow! Okay, I'll leave that alone.
Easy.
He just pisses me off. Like, fucking look at him. I fucking can't with this guy anymore. Ugh.
Zurabak, this is awkward, buddy. Come on, just say yes.
No.
I'll buy you a shot and a steak, buddy. Just come on.
You're gonna
man.
do that anyway.
Fuck, he's right. All right, but come on, man. Like, we've been through a lot together. Just take the knee, friend.
Zurabak bows to no one.
Yeah, fuck, I tried.
We are not in the habit of forcing anyone to do anything against their will. Zurabak is free to make whatever oaths he wishes. We will not force anyone into our employ. I'm sure he has masters and
they will be eaten.
And motivations of his own.
Also eaten.
As long as he does not harm the Loremasters, the bards, or any citizens or innocents under our care,
we can only hope that he operates alongside you all, if only for the sake of momentum and boredom. But in either case, you who have declared yourselves game for this adventure, know that the god of heroes and the goddess of stories watches over you. And apparently, so does the greatest villain this world has ever known.
That one rings true. I don't know about the other two.
But that is enough for now. I will take you back to the college proper and let you prepare for what comes next. And Loremaster Holland waves their hand. That archway shimmers once again with a plane of energy, and they step through. You're following after, I assume. And
Zerback
you are
sits
back.
down.
Cool. The shimmering plane of energy disappears, and you are chilling on a peak in the mountains by yourself.
I got Snake and a barrel full of meat.
Yeah, you're good for a while, man. So the rest of you go back into the Loremaster's chambers. And Alan says, my demeanor is something that many find off-putting. I have spent my entire life plumbing the mysteries of ancient magics and trying to keep alive secrets that have been lost to the ages. The spellcasters of times past were powerful beyond all reason. The veil spread across the forests that Rilla comes from is just one example of the great magics that have been cast. Even this villain's spell to gain entrance to the halls of the gods is something that we cannot in this age hope to meet. I have spent a long time on my own studying ancient secrets, some of which are darker than I like to admit. But believe me when I say that I believe that you all have what it takes to bring the written word back to the land and to rout this cult of nihilists that wants to destroy everything. Take what time you need to prepare, and we shall do what we can to make the most out of these artifacts that you have brought us. We shall endeavor to rebuild the cipher golem, and the first thing we shall put it to work doing is decoding the grimoire that the stricken has left for us. Whether you include him on your journey to the Ashen Isles is up to you, but it is as good a place to start as any. In the meantime, we can keep him locked in the dungeons if that would make you more comfortable, or I would be fine releasing him into your care. It seems these halflings you travel with keep him on a rather short leash. What would you prefer?
I, for one, think I need a little time to process all this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if we left him in prison for a little bit longer till we figured out the right way forward.
Anthony looks at you all through his stolen eyes, and he honestly looks a little sad. As you say this, he looks a little surprised and a little sad.
Now,
But,
come on, Tony. Don't give me that look, man. You know you're a dick.
He bows at that and says, I can understand that we have a special relationship, and it may take some time to regain the trust that was lost upon our journey here. But when the light begins to fade, and all that's left is doubt and dread,
I gag him.
See, case in point.
And the Hilltopple sisters just drag him humming out of the fucking room, and he smiles through his gag as he's being dragged out and winks at you all. So yeah, you are dismissed. The lore master says their goodbyes, and yeah, says you are free to go.
Hey, would you mind reopening that portal just real quick?
As you wish. She waves a hand, and that stone archway buried into the wall of the Lore Master's council chamber shimmers with a plane of energy.
I step through the portal.
You find Zurabak. Zurabak, are you sitting on a mountaintop eating a side of beef out of a wheelbarrow?
Yes?
Fantastic. That's what you see.
Oh, are we leaving already? That was quicker than I thought it would be.
So you ready to come on off the mountain, buddy?
Are we going to the fiery hell
Probably.
right now?
No, not yet.
Then no! Hurry it up!
Alright. And I leave.
Wouldn't come, huh, Hector?
You know how he is.
Nah, unfortunately I do. But it makes it a little bit easier on me.
Yeah, you all leave the council chambers of the Lore Masters of the College of Everspring, the governing body of the last bastion of civilization in all the Isle of Myosha, tasked with new purpose, new quest on the horizon, and a new title, having been officially declared protagonists of this tale. What's up?
So, as we're leaving, and I'm walking with Hector and Rilla, I pipe up and say, "All right, guys, look, this is a bit awkward. I got a little bit of personal business in the city that I wanted to see if y'all could help me with. Do y'all want to be my dates to a wedding?"
And that's where we'll end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our player characters' psychology, their characterizations, their motivations, and try to get a better understanding of them as people. In this segment, we'd like to ask each of our player characters a question and see if we can't glean some deeper insight into who they are. The question for today is, how do you remain calm under pressure? Our protagonists are all, at this point, fairly seasoned adventurers who have faced dangers from rampaging dragons, psychotic cultists, even holes in the fabric of reality itself. They've faced a myriad of pressures in their personal lives and on the road to Everspring, and we want to know how they handle themselves under pressure. So, we will start with Hector the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. How are you today, sir?
I am quite well. How are you?
I am just fine. I appreciate you asking. The studio's still looking pretty good. There's a little pile of Roomba shrapnel in the corner, but we're getting more Roombas to take care of that. Sort of a lovely cannibalistic circle of machine life. We don't need to get into that. Hector, the question for today is, what steps do you take to remain calm under pressure? When you are in the various life-threatening scenarios that you've been subjected to, or just when you're undergoing personal stresses, what steps do you take to remain calm under pressure, Hector?
I don't understand the question.
Well, when there are villains trying to kill you and your friends, when there are apocalyptic death cults trying to destroy the world,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
when you are facing down villains that speak to you in your brain and can kill you with a touch.
Yeah. Why would I want to be calm?
Huh. Now that's interesting. So you don't strive to remain calm at all.
That's that's our way of life, pretty much. All the fear, anger, you just use it. You just become it. Why would you want to be calm? No reason to be calm.
That is interesting. So would you say that you are guided by your emotions in general? You just let them fly freely and don't worry about managing them?
What is managing your emotions? I don't understand what that is.
Well, I suppose you wouldn't. As a warrior of your particular ilk, your rage is the fuel for your martial prowess. I suppose it would make sense that you would embrace all of the various pressures upon you and use them for fuel.
The things you are saying are confusing me, and that makes me angry.
And what's keeping you from killing me where I stand?
Recording devices.
Okay.
In the background, you hear Zerback yell, "Nothing!"
Okay. Well, so Hector, your answer is that you don't strive to remain calm under pressure. You just go nuts. Is that my understanding?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a fair answer. I appreciate your candor. Thank you very much, Hector. All right. Let's see who we've got next. Ruger Firehide. Ruger, pleasure to see you, sir. How are you today?
Great host. Evening to you. You are looking mighty dapper tonight, I must say.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. These suspenders are new. I did get them at the thrift store, so they smell a little off, but they really pull off the outfit. I'm very glad you noticed.
It really does. Yep, ties it all together, my friend.
So, Ruger, the question today is one that, given our history with you, I'm sure may have some dark components, but the question is, how do you remain calm under pressure? A man with your history and your line of work, and even given the things we've seen you confront over the course of our tale, a lot of pressures, both personal and existential. How do you remain calm under pressure?
Well, if I'm honest, I just remind myself that the worst thing that's ever happened to me has already happened to me. And from there, it just gets easier to move forward, you know? Gives you a clear mind. You don't have anything to fear anymore.
So the loss that you suffered, you use that as a backdrop to balance against anything you face in your life currently, and everything else just sort of pales in comparison to that very unique tragedy?
Exactly. I mean, once you've hit rock bottom, host, once you've hit rock bottom, there's really nothing else to be afraid of. There's freedom in that. And with freedom comes clarity.
That is a very interesting answer. Speaking of clarity, just to be perfectly above board, the loss you suffered, you referring to the loss of your daughter and deputy Navi?
Yes, that's the one, host.
Forgive me for bringing up bad memories, just wanted to clarify. I can absolutely sympathize that such a devastating loss would certainly balance out anything that came after. It's a very intriguing answer, and one that's very revealing. And I certainly appreciate your candor in grappling this particular topic. Thank you very much for your honesty there, Mr. Firehide.
I'd say it's my pleasure, but that would be a lie. Have a good
Hardly
night.
ever is. Hardly ever is. Have a great one. Have a great one. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. Sharon, have we got any antidepressants, or what do we got? What do we got back? Sharon, do we have the feel-good pills? Every time with that guy. Anyway, let's see. I think Zarabak's still chewing on a Roomba. Rilla Longshadow. Rilla, welcome back to the studio. How are you today?
I am doing all right, host. How are you?
I'm great. I've got these brand new, slightly musty suspenders, and thank you, Sharon. Sharon just gave me some happy pills, because, just talk to Ruger, and that's always a thing. The question for today, Rilla Longshadow, is what steps do you take to remain calm under pressure? As a spellcaster, as someone that has to channel the arcane forces of the universe in the face of sometimes nearly certain death, as someone that's traveled the land facing threats that most mortals can't even comprehend, let alone confront. How do you remain calm under pressure?
Well, I think you can tell from my battle style. Quite honestly, it's called staying back and letting other people get hit. Have you noticed that? All of my skills are best when I am not in front of the danger, so I just use other people as meat shields and take a nice deep breath and get on with protecting my shields. I mean friends.
Now that is interesting. So when deadly situations arise, the way you stay calm under pressure is to tactically withdraw and allow other people to get a little closer to the flames, metaphorically speaking.
Yes, metaphorically speaking, I am not a frontline fighter at all. So that's what I do.
Interesting. So I wonder, before your career as an adventurer, before you faced threats to your life and had a cabal of warriors to place between you and the threats to your life, how did you handle pressure personally? Your childhood was not a pleasant one, if I can be arguably reductive. You were exposed to a slew of magical experimentation from the elders of your clan for what turned out to be fairly sinister purposes. I have to assume that those caused a lot of stress. Was there anything you did in particular to deal with the pressures that caused?
Well, when you can't get away and you're stuck in front of something, you can at least mentally vanish, I'm real good at that.
So, removing your conscious mind from the current situation?
Yeah, pretty much. You don't need to focus on what's going on. When it's real bad, if we're talking about the elders, when it's real bad and there's nowhere to go and nowhere to hide, the best thing you can do is mentally disengage. And on that cheerful note, I think I'm gonna leave now.
Okay. Thank you, Rilla Longshadow. Man, getting really dark with this one. I suppose I should have known. Oh, Happy Pills just kicked in. Zarabak, my friend. Oh, Zarabak, how is that Roomba going down? I ordered you the picante ones because I figured those would be more to your liking. How are they going down there, bud?
Weak and pathetic.
That's my man. That's my guy, Zarabak, always coming in with the sickest burns. Weak and pathetic. That's a good one, man. So, the question is, if you choose to accept it. No, you don't have a choice. What is the way that you remain calm under pressure? And hold on, let me guess. Zorback doesn't feel pressure. Am I right or what, bud?
Well, weak and pathetic mortal. Zorback likes to take time away and enjoy the quiet things.
Ooh, intriguing. Enjoy the quiet things.
I'm lying. I just eat people and kill things.
Okay.
Though
Okay.
I do find pleasure in making them scream. Zorback scoots closer.
Okay. Well, that's just great. There's nothing like the blood-curdling screams of our enemies to really just calm the nerves when we're facing down horrific, life-threatening disasters. That's great. And I'm so doped up, I can't find a single thing wrong with that ideology whatsoever. So good stuff, Zurabak. Always.
Why don't you come back out to the parking lot and I'll show you some fun.
Oh, sure, I'll bring Sharon too. Sharon, we're going to the parking lot. Sharon, come on. Bring those inscrutable limbs over here, Sharon. Let's go out to the parking lot with Zurabag. Sharon, why are you holding me down? Sharon, come on. I'm just gonna go hang out with Zurabag. Come on, Sharon. Okay, I won't go to the parking lot with Zurabag. Sorry, bud. But in any case, that's gonna do it for us here at As the Dice Turns. And, until next time, dear listeners, just keep those dice turning, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey there, dear listeners. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by the Harp Wolf, Danielle Taylor-Williams. You can find more of her amazing work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. She has a beautiful album out called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? Additional music for the show is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work and his tour dates at Justin Ra, that is justinra.com. He has an album out called Age of the Spirit. If you'd like to contact us here at Challenge Rating 0, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating ZERO. If you'd like to find us on Twitter, we are at challenge_ZERO, and you can email us at challengeratingzero@gmail.com. If anyone has questions for our As the Dice Turn segment, you can send those to us on Twitter or at our email address, and we will read those on the show. If anyone is looking to support us here at Challenge Rating 0, you can hit up our Patreon page. You go to patreon.com/challenge_ZERO and find ways to support the show. Get access to bonus content, including tracks from our soundtrack. There are plenty of tiers, plenty of ways to help us out here. And if you're not interested in helping us fungibly, I totally understand. We'd appreciate it if you just, tell a friend about the program. If you were just streaming the show, if you wanted to download it instead, that really helps out our metrics here. Throw us a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, maybe share some of our episodes on social media. Just get the word out. We do not have an advertising budget, and so word of mouth is basically how we're getting by. Any support helps, and we super appreciate it. One last thing, samthedm.com is my personal website. I am a professional dungeon master in my spare time, and if anyone in the St. Louis area is looking for a face-to-face game, you can go to samthedm.com. If anyone in the world is looking for a virtual game, you can go to samthedm.com and find how to contact me to book a private game. So if anyone out there is interested, hit me up. Thanks again for listening. We will check in with you all in 2 weeks' time. And everyone stay safe out there. Bye.